What's up, guys? This is Brave, and I'm back with another review of The Bachelor, Season 25, Episode 5. Alright, so we start this episode off with Victoria and Kit. They're just going on like a walk. And we see that Victoria is talking crap about the new girls. I don't feel like I really heard Kit say anything, but Victoria was definitely talking about the OGs versus the new girls, whatever. So then we see Ryan, she's walking with Brittany, and these girls walk past each other and don't even speak. They just walk right past. And Ryan is basically saying how, she's tired of hearing the whole OGs versus the new girls. I get it. But at the same time, it's there is a difference between the new girls and the people who've already been there from the beginning. Let's not act like this concept is so new when on every reality show, if they bring in new girls, there's always an issue. Come on now. We then see Anna, she's talking to MJ, and the only thing I got out of that conversation was that Anna was absolutely fine with what she said to Brittany, and MJ is basically egging her on oh yeah, you're gonna be fine, you did the right thing. I'm like, girl, she just called this woman an escort on national television in front of the other ladies. She didn't even attempt to pull her to the side that these were the rumors that she was hearing. Are you kidding me? So we get to the ladies chatting before the rose ceremony starts, and Anna, she talks about how, she hasn't really had that much time with Matt, but in her confessional, since the new girls have arrived, she feels like she's ahead of somebody. And I'm like, girl, y'all are still on the same playing field. All because they were just now added, that does not mean you guys are not on the same playing field. You barely talked to this man. Anna talked to Matt maybe for a total of 15 minutes. And that's from the first day that she stepped out of the limo to when she left. Versus, what's her name? Michelle, she got a whole date with him. The rest of the ladies who were new, they have spent some time with him. Let's not act like she is on maybe Abigail or Chelsea or, hell, even Piper's level. Anna was tripping. So Matt comes out and he addresses the fact that, behind his back and under his nose, these ladies have been bullying, and he even brings up that someone's life could be ruined by the rumors that were being spread. This whole time, the cameraman is on Anna, and you can see her little world is crumbling in her eyes because she knew her ass was about to go home. So Matt, he decides to talk to Brittany first, which I'm like, great. Go ahead and get her side of the story, considering the rumors were about her. So she starts talking about how, this has been eating at her, and that Anna came to her trying to apologize that her and some of the girls were, running around the house saying that she was an escort. And here's my only thing. That's not exactly what happened. What happened was she got in front of the girls and was like, oh, so before you even got here, this is what was told to me, that you were an escort. That's what happened. Now, as far as it going around the house, I don't think that it went around the house just by Anna and Victoria alone. I think all the ladies who were sitting there, because this conversation happened in front of at least 8 ladies, because these group dates are so big. So I think that those ladies also went home and they, talked about this situation. Yeah, I don't think that Anna led with an apology at all. Anna did not lead with an apology for the fact that her and Victoria were saying that she was an escort. Her story's a little bit not factual, but I get what she's saying. So Matt is super understanding. He's saying a lot of words about how he can see a future with her and blah, blah, blah. The things he says to every girl. So then we have Anna and MJ talking. basically, MJ is telling Anna that she needs to go fix this because the house environment isn't toxic. And I'm like, no, it's not toxic for you, girl. For you. So after that conversation, Anna, she decides to talk to Matt, and she starts off, talking about how she's so upset with herself and blase blah. And she's basically trying to save her own ass because she's the one who started that rumor about Brittany, because she's the one who came up with the information. And then she starts to cry. And once she realized, once she was sent home, then she really came on with the dramatics. And I'm like, girl, you never even spent time with this man. Why the hell are you crying? So now the ladies, they pretty much know that she got sent home because he walked her ass out. And here comes everybody with these apologies to the new girls because they treated them so badly. And I'm like, y'all full of crap, especially Victoria. So Ryan, she is not here for Victoria, and she lets Matt know about it. She lets him know that Victoria called her a hoe because she's a dancer. Keep in mind, her name says dancer / choreographer. So I would assume that maybe she probably, dances on people's tours and music videos and like all types of things. Dancer does not equal, I guess, stripper was in Victoria's mind. That is not the same thing at all. Anyways, so after that, Victoria, she wants to know what Ryan said to Matt. And Ryan basically tells her, and now she's pissed off that Ryan told the truth. Like, Victoria, you should have known this shit was going to catch up to you at some point. So after that, she storms off. She's pissed. And then she tries to go clear her name with Matt. And I'm like, here we go again. Victoria trying to work her magic on Matt. So basically, she's like, oh, what Ryan just told you, it was taken out of context. And I did like that Matt called her out and was like, when is it okay to call someone a hoe? And she had no answer for that. So after this, Victoria's pissed off, especially because she found out that Katie was the one who brought the information to Matt. And we already know she don't like Katie. So she storms off outside. She's like yelling about Ryan and all this stuff. And I'm like, girl, sit your ass down somewhere. She pretended to have a breakdown. Bye, Victoria. So we get to the rose ceremony. And Brittany and Ryan are the first two to get roses. The final rose was Serena C. And that sent home Lauren, who I was actually rooting for. She was stunning. She was an attorney. And I feel like he didn't really explore that relationship. I don't know her name. Her name is Catalina, the beauty pageant girl. I can't remember what her name was. I think it's Catalina, though. Mari went home, as well as Victoria. And of course, she had something to say. She was like, you didn't even look at all the facts. And she didn't even give Matt a hug when she left. And I'm like, girl, it's not like he cared. He still have, 15 other women who's interested in him? Bye, girl. She was like, because he's a jester and I'm still a queen. He's not my king. And it's like, girl, just go away at this point. It's over. So the next day, the ladies just want to put the drama behind them and focus on their individual relationships with Matt. And I'm like, finally, because that's the whole reason why you guys are here. So Rachel, she gets a solo date. Their date actually started off with some shopping. Ty Hunter, who was Beyonce's stylist some years ago, he was pulling some looks for her, and Rachel was just trying on clothes. She did find this really cute red dress that Matt, he loved it on her, and he gives her a pair of Louboutin heels. I'm like, okay, you get some Louboutins? Okay. So after that, Rachel walks into the house with a bunch of bags. as well as her fancy new shoes. And I'm like, well, what did she get out of there? Because a lot of the stuff that she was trying on was like gowns and stuff. And I'm like, so is she just going to get a bunch of gowns so that she can wear to the rose ceremonies? I guess. So, of course, the other girls, they're jealous. Another envelope arrives, and we learn that Kit is getting a one-on-one date, and all the other ladies are going on a group date. So, we see Katie. She is feeling some type of way because even though she told Matt all this information about what's going on in the house, she still didn't get a solo date. Like, I honestly thought, I'm okay, maybe he gonna, throw her a bone and give her a solo date. Nope. Abigail, she's starting to question stuff as well because she hasn't really spent time with him. We see Matt and Rachel, they go to dinner, and it looked like it went well. They both say that they're falling in love with each other. I'm like, yeah, all right, okay. He gives her a rose, and that was pretty much that date. So we get to this group date, and it is on a farm. So MJ, out of nowhere, I feel like she's been playing the backseat for so long at this point. She decides that this is her time to shine. So, she's trying to act like she's so scared to touch a chicken, and she's just doing all these extra things just so that Matt will pay attention to her and he will notice her. And it was paying off because for a moment there, I'm like, well, what about the other girls? So at one point, Matt throws an egg to her. It drops in her hand, so her hand has like egg all on it. She goes and chases him, but as we can see, Matt is always running, so he's a good runner. He runs, and MJ can't catch him, right? So he ran all the way over to Piper, who was doing like her individual interview, and they just started making out. Like, when I say making out, it was like, fuck them other girls, this is my girl type of making out. Like, they wouldn't stop for a while. And MJ, she sees them and she's like, oh, guys, he's over there making out with Piper. And it's like, well, y'all all dating the same dude. Whatever. So Abigail and Michelle, they're over there getting emotional together because he's with other ladies. After that, we get to the after party portion of this date, and Matt, he pulls Chelsea first, and he realizes that he really does like her and she really does like him. And I feel like that was very genuine. It didn't seem like it was forced with Chelsea. Abigail, she talks to Matt, and she lets him know that she has fears that she will disappoint him if they do get together and have a family, because there is a very big chance that their children will be deaf as well. So she also experienced her own father walking out on them when she was younger just because she was deaf. I believe her and her sister might be deaf. I can't really recall right now. But, Matt, he was very reassuring. He's like, I know what it's like to grow up without a dad. And that was pretty much that. So Michelle talks to him and she's like, this is really difficult because my first time being around you, we went on a date and it was this great date, and now we're on this whole group thing, and it's something that she has to get used to. But he tells her, he's feeling the same way she does. And I'm like, are you though? Because you still have other dates that you can go on. She doesn't. Whatever. So we get to Matt talking to MJ, and he wants to know if she was a part of making the other women feel bad. And, she's like, no, I wasn't a part of any of that. Next thing you know, Brittany shows up. She does her usual thing, steals Matt away. So MJ goes back in there with the other ladies and she addresses them. And she's like, my character was questioned. And Yesenia, she piped up and was like, yeah, I'm the one that mentioned you. So they start arguing. And MJ keeps saying that she leads by example. Lead what? Like, this isn't a pack of wolves. You're not the leader. What are you leading? And what example? So Katie ends up jumping in and she's like, no, you're deflecting. And then after that, we jump to Kit and Rachel. They're having a conversation. about how Kit is going to have dinner at his place. She's all happy and she cries. She's like, in the kitchen is my happy place. And I'm like, yeah, okay. So we get back to Matt. The rose ends up going to Abigail because she opened up about, the possibility of having deaf kids. Then we get to the date with Matt and Kit. He says that he feels super comfortable with Kit. They look like they had a good time. I mean, they only were baking cookies. But my whole thing was, why was her date so short? I'm sorry. But you just had these girls from... What was Michelle's date? They went on a hot air balloon. They played some games. They went zip lining. Then you just had Rachel. She, what did Rachel do? Rachel, she ended up going on a shopping spree and y'all had dinner, while the only thing that she got was cooking in the kitchen and spending some time with him. I'm sorry, but Kit, you got played. You really did. She opened up about, her mom being super successful and how she's not really in touch with her emotions. I feel like within that conversation, those two things did not go together, but I'm gonna let her rock. I don't know if they chopped that up or what, but it didn't make any sense to me, because I'm like, your mom being successful has what to do with you being in touch with your emotions, and why do you have this huge guard up? Whatever. Or at least she says that she has a guard up, but whatever. So he gives Kit a rose, and the ladies there all together, and they get an envelope from Matt, and he says that he wants Yesenia and MJ to get there early before the rose ceremony because he wants to get to the bottom of this situation. Here we go. MJ, she goes on and on about this, and Yesenia is like, girl, you started this when you kept saying the varsity versus JV team. So they're just going back and forth and back and forth. And that is when Matt arrives, and that is also where the episode ended. Overall, I would say it was definitely time for Victoria to go. It was definitely time for Anna to go. Not only because she started the rumor, but also because she was just wasting time there. I was tired of looking at Anna in her mouth. Sorry, it is what it is. MJ, she can go, honestly. Yeah, these girls are crying over Matt, and I'm just like, y'all barely got to know him. I think that's my main issue with the way these girls are crying over Matt. It's only been a few weeks. All y'all have not really spent time with him. Why are you boo-hoo crying? But I digress. Go ahead and comment, and subscribe to my channel, and I will talk to you guys later. Bye, guys.